Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Roof Talk with Andy. Today we're talking about setting up a system or process for tool repair. So I was just going through this morning with fixing a tool, or not fixing, I don't fix the tools myself, but getting the tools repaired that come back into the shop and making sure that they don't just lay around on the tool bench, and collect dust. We all have this happen. I go out in the shop right now, there's probably 10 or 12 roofing guns and drills just laying around collecting dust. And we want to make sure we make the best use of the tools, and that when they come in for repair, that we can get them taken care of and sent back out to the guys so that we're not buying new tools. They can actually put them back into service. So this is a Hitachi NV65AH siding nailer. This is what we use for shooting 2.5 inch siding nails in for when we're doing trim around the portions of roofing. So this comes in very handy. It doesn't get a ton of use. We've had this probably for 4 or 5 years, but when it does break down, because it's not a very common tool we have, we only have one, so we don't have a backup. It'd be nice to have a backup, but you can't have a backup for every tool that you own, right? So I got to make sure that I have a set of O-rings, and I keep sets of O-rings for my other guns that we use more commonly, but for this one, I don't have one. So when this comes in, we want to make sure that we get the O-ring kit for it, or whatever parts that we need for it, in it, repaired, and put back into service as quick as possible. So I'm going to just give you a synopsis of the system that we use. And so step one, when the crew or the person on the crew that notices that they're having a problem with it, they know that they're supposed to tag it. So the first person makes sure that they mark it or tag it somehow. And we have different things here that we use to tag it. First of all, we started using these, and we put them on with a zip tie or a piece of twine or something. But we noticed that it wasn't big enough to really put any information on it. They're still available if the guys want to use it. But the most common thing that we use is we bought rolls of stickers. These little stickers, I think you can get a roll of about 500. If you look on Amazon, you can get a roll of about 500. All different colors. I think they're like $20 to $30 for a whole roll. And we've had our rolls for several years now, so they go a long ways. So they can take one of these off and they can write on it what's wrong with it. Needs an O-ring kit, or the trigger mechanism is broke, or maybe the air nozzle needs a new air nozzle replaced on it. And they can write on there what it is, so that the person that ends up repairing it knows what's going on with it. Many times you probably have the same problems we do. Is 2 weeks later, a month later, you need that thing and nobody can remember what was wrong with that tool. And you don't want to have to go by memory. So you can take this and stick it on there with the problem that's on it. Number two is, once it's tagged with the problem, put it in a designated spot. Now, we have a workshop out here that we have stuff that we have a tool bench that's designated for tool repair and what have you. So we set it on there. It's tagged and people know where it's at. But if you don't have a workshop, have a box that's designated for tool repair, or a corner that you can put a little sign up that says, these are for tools that need to be repaired, or broken tools, so that everybody knows that if there's a tool in that bin or in that spot, that it's waiting for a repair or waiting for something to be ordered for a repair. So that's number two. Number three, I probably should have done this first, is make sure there's the problem is short and concise. So you don't have a ton of area to write on these things, but you want to make sure that it's descriptive enough that people know what you're talking about. Sometimes you don't know exactly what it is, so if it's leaking air, just write leaking air. But if you know that it needs an O-ring kit, write needs an O-ring kit. Number four, order the replacement part. So we have a guy that he's a small engine repair guy, but he does a lot of little stuff, mechanical stuff. He fixes our compressors and generators and a lot of our smaller tools. And he turned me on to a website that's really great for getting replacement parts, instead of having to go through him or going through a equipment dealer. We go to a website called ereplacementparts.com, and I think Garrett will put a link on here so that you can follow that. But that's really cool because you can get just about any part you can imagine for it. I'm looking right here on my screen. It's all from pneumatic tools to electric tools to cordless tools. appliance parts, grill parts, pool and spa. I mean, there's just about anything you can imagine, but it's very simple to use. You just type the model number and the brand name of the part or of the tool that you're using. It'll even have schematics of what part you're looking for if you're not sure what particular part you're needing. I think there's even some troubleshooting questions on there in case you're not sure what part you need, but it's very user-friendly website. And I found that we really like using it. Parts come in 3 to 4 days typically for us. And you can get it faster if you want overnight, if you want to pay the price, but typically we just get the 3 to 4 days. And then once it's done, I print out the receipt and then I just fold it up and I stick it to the tool, or I tag it on the tool somehow, and I go back and set it out once again in a designated area for tools to be reissued out to the crew, that they know that if it's there and that this paperwork is with it, that it's ready to go back out there. Now, I know a lot of you might think, well, this is kind of a waste of time to, I got better things to do than try to do everything here. But really, if you got a $300 or $400 tool or gun, it's really not the $200 or $300 tool that you're losing money on, right? I try to explain this to my guys too. It's the loss of productivity out at the job site because you don't have that special tool that you need. You got a gas-powered grinder, you've got an impact driller, you've got a specific type of tool that you use, and you don't have a backup for it. You've either got to switch jobs, you've got to find other jobs to do, so that you can't do that until you get the right tool. You lose productivity, and none of us want to lose productivity because you're gonna quickly surpass the cost of this tool by lost productivity and lost labor. So it's very important that you get the tool back out on job being serviced as quick as possible. So that's just it in a nutshell for what we do. And I'm gonna tell you, we don't do this perfect all the time, but we attempt to do it the best we can. And it really works well, and make sure that our tools don't just sit idle in the shop, broken down and not being used. So love to hear your comments. Please subscribe to our channel. That really helps us to build our viewer audience and build our brand on YouTube here. And like it, and that really helps us. So hope you got value out of this today. Until next time.